Well, here we are.
Welcome again.
Welcome again. Happy New Year's, everyone.
This is like the 5th year, isn't it?
It is the 5th year in a row.
Wow. Okay, well, once again, our sponsor, Champagne, because it's New Year's Eve.
Well, it makes sense.
Yeah, they're our official sponsor.
They have been. Since day one, they've been with us when this was an untested product, and now it's so much worse. I understand.
It's not.
No, but this is beautiful. We're capturing it on 2 sources tonight, and so if you could not join us live, and by all means, we will also have this available to you on YouTube tomorrow as well, and probably Facebook and a whole bunch of other places too.
Oh, I hope so.
Yes.
There was a lot of work involved in this.
Rosalind worked so hard. See how thick this script is? Yeah. Rosalind worked super, super, super hard on it.
I wrote the script this year.
She is
my first
amazing.
time ever.
She is. There are some dates where I wrote this all by myself, or I wrote this with Rosalind's help, or had input from a lot of people, and Rosalind did this all by herself because I was too busy working and not really caring about anything. But
well, anyway, let's get started, shall we?
Well, I'm Victoria Ann Davis,
and I'm Roz Davis,
and this is
Snarkn New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. New Year's Snarkn Eve. Yeah, because if it ain't snarky, why not? I know everybody's like snarking on the year 2020 this year, but
it deserves it.
It totally deserves it. But we started this first, and just have a little champagne, you'll relax right away. So we've got a lot of great news stories here, so much so that it will probably fill an hour. So before the new year arrives, let's get going.
All right, so we picked some of our favorite stories of the year, and here it goes. Here's my personal favorite. I had to start right out of the box with this one. Earlier this year, Brian May from Queen literally broke his ass. From the Really That Happened file, Queen guitarist Brian May took to Instagram this past spring to give his fans and followers an update on his health. I managed to rip my gluteus maximus to shreds in a moment of over-enthusiastic gardening.
Over-enthusiastic gardening?
Well, that's what takes it, the cake. You know, it's like he broke his butt gardening. The 72-year-old musician had commented, "Suddenly, I find myself in a hospital getting scanned to find out exactly how much I've actually damaged myself." Well, I went ahead and I did an internet search for the actual definition of over-enthusiastic gardening. It turns out that Brian May invented the term because I searched 9 pages into my internet search, and it was nothing but headlines about Queen's guitarist Brian May injures his glutes, Brian May is hospitalized for butt injury, and the headlines go on and on about that, like Queen's Brian May severely tears butt muscle in moment of over-enthusiastic gardening. It's like... Anyway, unfortunately, he had a bad health year in general because it did not stop there. His update continues. He did a thorough job on his butt, and that was not the end of the story. He continued to have health problems throughout the year. While still enduring buttock pain, he revealed he suffered a heart attack. In the middle of the whole saga of the painful backside, I had a small heart attack, May said, adding that he endured around 40 minutes of pain and chest tightness. He revealed that his doctor drove him to the hospital where he found out he had 3 blocked arteries and was treated as an emergency case. He had actually ended up with 3 stents put in, and then he left the hospital feeling fine. But wait, there was more. In September, May revealed he had an adverse reaction to the medication he received following the heart attack. "You have to be so careful with the medication they give you," May said, "because it's great for stents, it's great for your heart, but it's not very good for the rest of your body, and you really can go down. It's a tightrope," May continued. "The worst thing that happened was the stomach hemorrhage, and I lost an awful lot of blood all at one time and was just wiped out. I couldn't move, I couldn't get across the floor. This is the worst point for me, but I had a bit of a bad time all around. It sounds amusing, really, a catalog of disasters." So he went on to say he had a wonderful, wonderful surgeon, and he was grateful to be alive, and he's working fine and feeling good.
That's great news. I'm glad. I hope he continues to recover. Well, all right. Matthew McConaughey wrote a book called Green Lights.
Well, just one green light.
You're right, it was just green lights. Matthew McConaughey, Academy Award-winning actor, professor, husband, father, and shirtless bongo player, and that was... The shark dropped a little soon.
I guess 2020 can't get out of here quick.
And we are not against having it go.
Why not? Why don't we just start now with 2020?
Yay! Happy New Year! Why hold back?
I would say that was definitely a yellow light in Matthew McConaughey's book. But read on and explain what I'm talking about.
Definitely. The good news is nobody was standing under the shark at the time. Although if I had been, no. Academy Award-winning actor, professor, husband, father, and shirtless bongo player can now add author to his list of accomplishments. Green Lights was published on October 20th by the Crown Publishing Group. McConaughey exiled himself to the desert without electricity for 52 days in an effort to memorialize his philosophy. The book originated in journals. McConaughey began writing when he was 14 years old. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like he went just full-on hermit.
He did.
He had no electricity. I'm thinking,
how did he?
I guess it was shorthand. By candle, perhaps.
There's no way I would do that.
Yeah, I would at least need, maybe, I don't know, hot water for a shower. I don't know. Recently, I worked up the courage to sit down with those diaries. I found stories, experience, lessons I learned and forgot, poems, prayers, prescriptions, beliefs about what matters, photographs, and a whole bunch of books. I found a reliable thing that gave me more satisfaction at the time, and still, if you know how and when to deal with these challenges, how to get relative with the inevitable, you can enjoy a state of success I call catching green lights. McConaughey went on a virtual book tour this fall to explain the book that espouses his philosophy. It's medicine that tastes good. A couple of aspirin instead of the infirmary, a spaceship to Mars without needing your pilot's license, going to church without having to be born again, and laughing through the tears. It's a love letter to life. It's also a guide to catching lights and realizing that the yellows and reds eventually turn green too. Reviewer Mark Anthakis for the Washington Post commented on his review of Green. A fortune cookie might have written much of Green Lights if a fortune cookie had starred in Interstellar.
I thought that was pretty good snark.
Yeah.
That's why I included it.
Yeah, he's pretty snarky, this Anthakis. McConaughey pushes an ethos of learning to take your hands off the wheel. Following the lead of his first connection in Hollywood, he told McConaughey he would get the work he wants when he stopped wanting it so much. McConaughey's most cherished advice is non-advice. I believe everything we do in life is part of a plan. Sometimes the plan goes as intended and sometimes it doesn't. That's part of the plan. Some plan. I think it's Atkiss concluded. So on a scale of how to lose a guy in 10 days to True Detective, I figure Green Lights is a solid magic mic. Simply structured, a little flashy, but not as insightful as it wants you to think it is. The lengthy bio at the end of Green Lights states that Matthew McConaughey is a very intentional man, but the intentions are largely a mystery to all but the man himself. So, I think we've learned that people from the Washington Post, reviewers from them, are actually good snark biters as well.
I think so. Maybe we should invite them to be.
Yes.
So, we're up to the point now where we talk about marriages for the year. So we picked out some celebrity marriages that we thought were notable. So we'll start with that.
All right.
Comedian Kathy Griffin, 60, married her longtime boyfriend, Randy Vick, 41, on January 1st in a ceremony she described on Twitter that lasted just under 14 minutes. The tweet concluded a video with the first minute of nuptials and showed Lily Tomlin officiating. So, I guess Kathy Griffin's a super cougar.
I know. I'm looking at that 60. I didn't realize she was
41. Yeah, I don't. Ooh, wow.
Yeah, and what's really interesting about this story is last year in the same broadcast, we reported, literally a year ago tonight, that they had broken up.
So I guess something happened and they got back together.
Uh-huh.
Well, anyway, the pair met in September 2011 at a Los Angeles Times Food and Wine Festival in 2011.
Oh, food and wine. Can't beat that. Well, speaking of young love... Bindi Irwin, 22, announced on Instagram that she and fiancé Chandler Powell, 24, tied the knot on March 25th in a ceremony without any guests except for immediate family at Australia Zoo's gardens in order to observe coronavirus restrictions. The two met at the Australia Zoo in 2003 when Chandler was visiting Australia as part of a national wakeboarding competition. Who knew? He's an athlete. Bindi, whose life with her family at the zoo is documented on Crikey, It's the Irwins, just so happened to be giving the tour he was on. Yeah. In August, Bindi announced that she is expecting. Her baby girl is due in early spring.
Oscar-winning actress Emma Stone, 32, and former segment director for Saturday Night Live, Dave McCary, 35, were confirmed as married by the New York Post page 6 in September. They had announced their engagement on Instagram in December of 2019 with a selfie that featured Stone showing a pearl engagement ring. They had originally planned to marry in March, but postponed due to the pandemic. When they met when she hosted SNL in 2016 and were first linked as a couple in 2017.
Wow. Well, curb your enthusiasm, everyone, because Larry David's back in the marriage game. Curb Your Enthusiasm creator and star Larry David, 73, married Ashley Underwood, who is quoted known as much younger, although we can't find much about her.
We can't find out very much. She's like a phantom of some sort. You search for her, there's no Wikipedia page, there's nothing on LinkedIn even, and so somewhere people speculate her age is between 35 and 41. So I don't know. Well,
maybe she just likes a funny guy.
Maybe.
They wed on October 7th in Southern California, People magazine reported. They'd met in 2017 at Sacha Baron Cohen's birthday party. Isla Fisher. Fisher guest starred in the most recent season of Curb Your Enthusiasm. We were seated next to each other, I think, with being fixed up in mind, David told the New York Times in April. Much to her surprise, I left before dessert. I was doing so well, banter-wise. I didn't want to risk anything too long by blowing the good impression.
You kind of know who Larry David is, though, so how could that...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
you either know him and like him, or you
I think
have
it's
no
an acquired taste. But
I would tend to think, yes.
Avengers Endgame star Scarlett Johansson, 35, and Saturday Night Live comedian Colin Jost married in late October in a private ceremony, allowing Meals on Wheels America to announce that the deed had been done on Instagram on October 29th. Featuring a picture of the Staten Island ferry with photoshopped in tin cans tied to the back and the words Jost married, the organization wrote, "We're thrilled to break the news that Scarlett Johansson and Colin Jost were married over the weekend in an intimate ceremony with their immediate family and loved ones following COVID-19 safety precautions as directed by the CDC. Their wedding wish is to help make a difference for vulnerable older adults during this difficult time by supporting at Meals on Wheels America." The couple announced their engagement in May of 2019. After 2 years of dating, they first went public with their romance in 2018 at the premiere of Infinity War.
Wow. Well, there's that's kind of cool. Those were some good celebrity marriages.
They were. Now we thought that space was very big this year. It became hot. It became hot again.
It really did.
And there was it was actually one of the most uplifting stories of 2020, if you could find one. And we went back into space on our own space vehicles, this time in a commercial fashion with really cool suits. So here's some space stories.
That's right. Well, this year space is back in as big news. History was made back on May 30th when Elon Musk's private space company SpaceX launched NASA astronaut Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley into orbit, successfully beginning SpaceX's first crewed mission. The company's Falcon 9 rocket and the Crew Dragon spacecraft took off from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. It is the first privately designed and built spacecraft to carry astronauts into space. Known as NASA's SpaceX Demo 2, the mission was an end-to-end test flight to validate the SpaceX crew's transportation system, including launch, in-orbit, docking, and landing operations. The mission paved the way for its certification for regular crew flights to the station as part of NASA's Commercial Crew Program. "This is a dream come true for me and everyone at SpaceX," said Musk. "It is the culmination of an incredible amount of work by the SpaceX team, by NASA, and by a number of other partners in the process of making this happen. You can look at this as the result of 100,000 people roughly when you add up all the suppliers and everyone working incredibly hard to make this happen." Wow, that employs a lot of people.
It does.
The test flight was successful and led to the November 15th launch to the International Space Station. NASA's SpaceX Crew 1 mission lifted off from the Launch Complex 39A at the agency's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. The SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket the Crew Dragon spacecraft with NASA astronauts Michael Hopkins, Victor Glover, Shannon Walker, along with Soichi Noguchi of the Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency into orbit to begin a 6-month science mission aboard the space station. NASA is delivering on its commitment to the American people and our international partners to provide safe, reliable, and cost-effective missions to the International Space Station using American private industry, said the NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine. The Crew Dragon spacecraft, named Resilience, docked autonomously to the forward port of the station's Harmony module a day later. The crew will conduct science and maintenance during the 6-month stay aboard the orbiting laboratory and will return in spring 2021. It is scheduled to be the longest human space mission launched from the United States. The Crew Dragon spacecraft is capable of staying in orbit for at least 210 days as per NASA requirements. It's handy to know that they can hang out there in space.
Yeah, that was a pretty fun story.
It really is.
That was a reasonable space story, the kind that make older Americans whistle for the golden years of the space exploration and the hope it once gave. We were suddenly snapped back to the present. On May 4th, Deadline broke the Tom Cruise plots movie SpaceX. No, this is not a lost short story by Kurt, if it feels like it. Elon Musk are working on a project at NASA that would be the first narrative feature film, an action-adventure in outer space. Tom Cruise will in October 2021, along with the Bourne Identity director Doug Liman as part of the Axiom SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule to film a movie on the International Space Station. The movie does not yet have a title or a plot.
Well, you might want to get working on that. It's kind of important to movies.
With all that space exploration and stuff, that everything would be carefully thought out and researched. You can go up there, film a movie in space without any plot or title.
Apparently, well, it's just like a Mission Impossible movie.
The Space Agency Administrator Jim Bridenstine said, "I will tell you this, NASA, Tom Cruise, and of course his team will do everything we can to make it a successful mission, including opening up the space station," he told the Associated Press. Asked about Cruise filming on the space station, Musk told CBS this morning, "Actually, we are supportive, and I think it captures the imagination of the public."
News is, in space, no one can hear you the crew.
No, that's true. Do you need masks up there? You need headgear, but you
don't necessarily masks. Well, everybody's been quarantined before they go up there, so
yeah,
it's not bad. Well, certainly thinking aspirationally and capturing the imagination, something happened kind of over the summer and into the fall. A monument to recognize the future birthplace of Star Trek Voyager Captain Catherine Janeway has been installed along the Beeline Trail next to Wonderlab Museum in Bloomington, Indiana. The design is a bronze bust of Captain Catherine Janeway atop a limestone base with a commemorative steel plaque. The monument includes an informational display connection to Bloomington. Captain Janeway Bloomington Collective installed the monument to Star Trek Voyager character on October 24th. It celebrates her leadership connection to her future birthplace and the accomplishments of those inspired by her character. This project was a labor of love made possible by donations from hundreds of fans across the planet and is supported by Bloomington's Artisan Alley, Bloomington, with the permission of Studios. I believe it did actually help in Bloomington, Indiana.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I gotta... Sorry.
Good safety protocols. I appreciate that.
Well, you thought the end of this story until very recently. Ashes of the late James Doohan, Chief Engineer Montgomery Scott on the original Star Trek television series have the last 12 years. He died in 2005 at the age of 85, and his family wanted to fulfill his space station. So, until just days ago, that Doohan's ashes were launched into space earlier this year, in May on the 22nd, on the unmanned SpaceX Falcon Cape Canaveral. The Dragon capsule was filled with cargo bound for the International Space Station. Also packed in the rocket was a secondary payload carrying the remains of 308 people, including Doohan and Mercury program astronaut Gordon Cooper, according to ABC. However, official requests earlier to bring Doohan's ashes onto the space station were denied. So Richard Garrett, one of the first private citizens to travel to the space station, he paid like $30 million to do so.
Oh, that's nice.
Managed to smuggle some of Doohan's ashes into the space station Columbus module in 2008. Garrett says he took a laminated picture of Doohan and some of his ashes and put it under the floor of the Columbus. So I don't know. Can you pry up the floor and stick?
I would
stick
hope
stuff
not.
In?
No, but I guess he did and did something. I don't know. Maybe hung him as a sachet in the closet or something.
I don't know. He didn't tell anybody about his scheme. Only he and Doohan's family knew. Wow. So this almost, like, how do you know he really did that, though?
You don't
It
know.
sounds kind of fake to me. I don't know. It was completely clandestine, Garriott told the Times of London. His family were very pleased that the ashes made it up there, but we were all disappointed we didn't get to talk about it publicly for so long. Now enough time has passed, we can. It's not the first time Doohan's ashes have made it into the heavens. A portion of his ashes were aboard SpaceX Falcon 1 rocket back in 2008, but that rocket failed minutes after launch and ended up scattered all over Puget Sound in Washington. According to the Times, Doohan's ashes have traveled some 1.7 billion miles across space and have orbited Earth more than 70,000 times.
It's really giving all these.
So he's happy. He was there, and then he was there again. So he's like doubly covered. And it just makes me wonder how many cremains exist of James Doohan out there that they kept
moving around.
The family kept stuff that they could, send off into space. Anyway, we're up to celebrity births, and there are a few.
Yeah, and there's here's one of our recurring characters tonight. Billionaire Elon Musk and singer Grimes welcomed their first child together, a son, in early May. He has a sincerely unique name. It's pronounced XA12.
And it's got all kinds of funky symbols and things.
Yeah.
Harry Potter actor Rupert Grint and his longtime partner Georgia Groom welcomed a baby girl named Wednesday back in May.
Actor-singer Donald Glover Jr. revealed he and his longtime partner Michelle White welcomed a third son named Donald in memory of Glover's late father.
In mid-July, singer-actor Justin Timberlake and actress Jessica Biel secretly had their second baby. He was a boy, and he has an older brother, Silas, who is 5.
In early August, Katherine Schwarzenegger and Chris Pratt welcomed their daughter, Lila Mae Schwarzenegger-Pratt. That's going to be fun taking the SATs, her and Elon Musk kid. Pratt is also the father of a son, Jack, from his first marriage to Anna Faris.
Singer Katy Perry and actor Orlando Bloom announced the arrival of Daisy Dove Bloom in August.
Marking the third time in history a woman has given birth.
That's right.
Feels like it. In late August, singer-songwriter Ed Sheeran and his wife, Sherry Seaborn, gave birth to the couple's first child, a baby girl named Lyra Antarctica Seaborn Sheeran.
I don't know where they get these names. This supposedly is a family name of some sort. I heard that a long time ago.
Okay.
It's baby number 5 for Alec Baldwin and his wife Hilaria, or should I say Hillary, when they welcomed a baby named Eduardo in early September.
On September 28th, The View co-host Meghan McCain and her husband Ben Domich welcomed their first child, a baby girl, Liberty Sage.
Mindy Kaling surprised fans on October 8th during an appearance on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert when she announced that she had given birth to her second child. "I'm telling you for the first time now. It feels so strange, but I gave birth to a baby boy on September 3rd, she said. When Colbert remarked, "No one even knew you were pregnant," she replied, I know. This is news to a lot of people. It's true." The actor also revealed the baby is a boy named Spencer who joins her older daughter, Catherine.
On October 31st, singer Ashley Simpson welcomed her second child with husband Evan Ross, a baby boy named Ziggy Blue Ross.
On December 11th, singer Robin Thicke and his fiancée April announced their third child together, a baby boy named Luca Patrick, baby Luca, 2 big sisters, and son 10, who's 10, from whom he shares with ex-wife Paula Patton.
All right. Well, speaking of births, there was somebody who was born 40 years ago, and it's true. Pac-Man has entered middle age. Pac-Man 40 years ago on May 22nd, 1980, when manufacturer Namco installed the first video game machine in a movie theater in Shibuya, Tokyo, and immediately rose to media popularity. Pac-Man was created by game designer Toru Iwatani. He was just 24 at the time. The idea of the character came to him when he removed a slice from a pizza.
I can see it.
Yeah, you can see that. With a brand recognition rate of 90% around the world, the simple yellow dot proved to be an irresistible force and transformed not only the world of video games, but also pop culture at large. The phenomenon has spawned a slew of merchandise, books, cartoons, museum exhibits, and songs, including the hit Pac-Man Fever. Whew, I remember that. That was really rough pandemic. Which rose to number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100 in March 1982. The game was originally called Puckman, but U.S. distributor Midway was worried the word puck could be easily modified by mischievous vandals into something a bit ruder.
Well, I think they were probably correct on that, so that was a good call.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Well, we're up to celebrity breakups, and the pandemic has been a strain on everyone this year, and it has also been hard on celebrity relationships. So here are some that ended this year. Actress Taraji P. Henson, is that me? Yeah,
yes,
that is me.
You.
Okay, actress Taraji P. Henson just revealed she and fiance Kelvin Hayden didn't work out. The actor first announced their engagement in 2018, and they were set to wed in April of 2020, but they postponed it due to the coronavirus. I haven't said it yet, but it didn't work out, Henson shared on the Breakfast Club morning radio show Her People.
Pamela Anderson and her husband John Peters split up on February 1st, just 12 days after the pair secretly tied the knot in an intimate Malibu, California wedding ceremony. Baywatch star confirmed the breakup in a statement to Entertainment Tonight. I have been moved by the warm reception to John and my union. We would be very grateful for your support as we take some time apart to reevaluate what we want from life. Well, it was a long time. And from one another. Life is a journey and love is a process. With that universal truth in mind, we have mutually decided to put off the formalization of our marriage certificate and put our faith in the process. The Hollywood Reporter adds that the pair, who first met and dated more than 30 years ago, had not yet filed for a marriage certificate. So, oops, that one didn't work out.
They really took their time and really thought that one through.
Yeah, it was a long and hard decision.
Yeah.
And the statement was actually longer than the marriage, but
it was.
It was.
People reports that according to documents obtained by The Blast, singer and talk show host Kelly Clarkson has filed for divorce from her husband Brendan Blackstock, to whom she's been married to for 7 years. The filing reportedly happened in Los Angeles back on June 4th. The couple married in October of 2013 and shared 2 kids. Blackstock also has 2 children from a previous marriage.
After spending time apart throughout the coronavirus pandemic, dancer, actress Julianne Hough and former NHL player Brooke Laish have confirmed to People that they've officially split. We have lovingly and carefully taken time we have needed to arrive at our decision to separate, they said in a joint statement on May 29th.
Well, after a whirlwind romance, Flipper Flop star Christina Anstead and Wheeler Dealer's husband Ant separated after less than 2 years of marriage. Christina announced the news just weeks after her son Hudson celebrated his first birthday. Ant and I have made the difficult decision to separate, Christina wrote on Instagram. We are grateful for each other as always. Our children will remain our priority. We appreciate your support and ask for privacy for us and our family as we navigate the future. The couple married in a surprise wedding at their Newport Beach, California home in December of 2018 before 70 of their closest friends and family members. The two met through a mutual friend in the latter half of 2017 after the Flipper Flop star split from her husband and showmate Tarek El Moussa. Only days after Christina shared the news of her separation, Tarek jumped on Instagram to share a very peppy post. In the post, he is seated on a couch next to his fiancée, selling sunset Heather Ray Young. Well, first of all, I love how in this story everybody is a reality star. It's like this is what we've come to now.
Yes.
It's just sad, actually.
Yeah.
Commentary. I just had to interject. Well, anyway, Heather Ray Young, his new fiancée, said, "I don't know. I'm just so excited about life." He wrote in the caption, "I'm in love. I'm engaged. Flipping 101 is on the air and Flipper Flop is on the way." The real estate mogul added, "I dreamed of this life and I got it by believing I could do it and working my tail off." Tarek took a lot of heat in the social media world because of the odd timing of his announcement in light of Christina's sad news. I mean, he literally did this like right after she announced she was separating from him.
By the way, I'm getting divorced.
Yay, happy day. I'm having the time of my life. However, a source explained to Hollywood Life that Tarek simply wants to keep the relationship focused on parenting, sharing. Christina and Tarek only talk about work and the kids. They're not really friends. As the mother of his children, he wants her to be happy, but they don't discuss personal lives at all. It's also important to note that one picture can't tell the whole story. Tarek is sad that Christina is going through a hard time, but an insider told Us Weekly he did not think that Christina and Ant would last.
Well, that's kind of a sad ending. And speaking of sad things, we lost a lot of great people this year, and we can't mention all of them. We can't even scratch the surface.
No.
But we're going to start out with a really great broadcaster. On April 17th, Gene Shea, Philly's grandfather of folk music, and co-founder of the Philadelphia Folk Festival, died of complications due to COVID-19. He was 85 years old. Born Ivan Shaner, his radio career spanned more than 50 years. He got his first on-air experience with Armed Forces Radio while in Germany in the 1950s. The Nicetown native first became a host of Saturday night program on WHAT-FM in 1962, and he co-founded the Philadelphia Folk Festival that same year. Beyond founding the festival, Shea also came up with its iconic logo, a smiling banjo. He gave us our voice and our brand, said Liz Schwartz, festival and programming director of the Philadelphia Folk Song Society, said. That twinkle in his eye and that mischievous grin as synonymous with the folk festival as the smiling banjo that he created. From WHAT, Shea made his way to several Philadelphia radio stations, including WDAS, WMMR, and WIOQ. In 1981, he moved to WHYY-FM, where he remained for nearly 15 years before finding his final home at WXPN after 20 years there. He retired from the folk show in 2015. Shea was a major influence on bringing such now legendary artists as Bob Dylan and Joan Baez to Philadelphia for the first time. He was a giant in terms of his impact on artists and the music, and to do it for so close to 60 years is extraordinary, said LeMay, WXPN station manager. In 2013, he was being introduced by musicians David Bromberg and his Philadelphia Music Alliance Walk of Fame induction. Shea said he would put unknown talent on the air in the hope they could find an audience and perhaps a record deal. I play people who have a glint of something, some spark, and just let them play good music where other people can hear them, Shea said. That is one of the great joys of my life. Shea's wife, Gloria Shaner, died in 2018. He lived in Lower Merion and is survived by 2 daughters.
Australian-born singer Helen Reddy, whose hit I Am Woman became a feminist anthem in the 1970s, died in Los Angeles back on September 29th. She was 78 years old. Reddy had dementia for several years prior to her death. I Am Woman was by far Reddy's most famous song, but in the wake of its success, she released several more hits, including Delta Dawn, Angie Baby, Leave Me Alone, and Ain't No Way to Treat a Lady. Reddy was born into a showbiz family in Melbourne, Australia in 1941 and began performing when she was still a child. When she was 24 and a single mother, she won a talent contest on Australian TV. The prize was a trip to New York and the chance to audition for a recording contract with Mercury Records. She didn't get it, but she stayed in the U.S. and set out to make a pop career. In 1968, she met her future husband and manager, Jeff Wald, who was handling such acts as Tiny Tim, Deep Purple, and the Turtles. They eventually persuaded Capitol Records to let her record one single. The intended A-side flopped, but the B-side cover of I Don't Know How to Love Him from the musical Jesus Christ Superstar made it to number 13 on the Billboard charts in 1971. Her biggest success came a year later, the anthemic I Am Woman, which resonated with audiences worldwide in the midst of the women's liberation movement in the U.S. In a 2014 interview with the Houston Public Media, Reddy explained that the phrase I am woman came to her and just wouldn't leave. Over and over she recalled, I am strong, I am invincible, I am woman. And I thought, well, that has to be a song. She wrote the lyrics, songwriter Ray Burton penned the music, and Jeff Wald talked Capitol into letting her release it. Slowly, with Wald promoting the song market by market, the song became a hit. By December of 1972, it was number 1 on the Billboard charts, and Reddy took home a Grammy.
Long-running Jeopardy host Al Trebek passed away peacefully at his home on November 8th from pancreatic cancer. George Alexander Trebek was born on July 22, 1940 in Ontario, Canada. In his junior year at the University of Ottawa, Trebek needed money to pay for college and found a job at the Canadian Broadcast Corporation as a summer relief announcer. He took on other announcing gigs. After graduating in 1961 with a major in philosophy, Trebek stayed at the CBC, where his interest turned out to be hosting. His first such job was for a Canadian music program called Music Hop in 1963. He then hosted several other programs until 1973, when he moved to the United States. There, he hosted a dizzying series of shows, including The Wizard of Oz, and High Rollers. In 1984, Trebek landed what turned out to be his big break when producer-host Merv Griffin chose him MC a revival of Jeopardy! For over 37 seasons, Trebek hosted more than 8,200 episodes of Jeopardy! The most by a presenter of any single TV game show, according to a statement from Sony Pictures. Somewhere along the way, he became a cultural icon. Trebek appeared frequently as himself in movies, including Charlie on programs including The Simpsons and The Colbert Report. He ran a leg of the Olympic torch in advance of the 1996 Games in Atlanta. Trebek earned numerous awards over the course of his career, including the Daytime Emmy Award for Outstanding Game Show Host, which he won 7 times, most recently in July. He also received a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Daytime Emmys in June 2011. Despite his diagnosis of stage 4 pancreatic cancer, Trebek continued to work almost to the end. His last day in the studio was October 29th. His final show will air January 8th. Survivors include his wife, Jean, and his children, Matthew, Emily.
Bill Withers, the soul legend who penned timeless songs like Lean on Me, Lovely Day, and Ain't No Sunshine, died on March 30th from heart complications in Los Angeles. He was 81 years old. The 3-time Grammy winner released just 8 albums before walking away from the spotlight in 1985, but he left an incredible mark on the music community and the world at large. Songs like Lean on Me, Grandma's Hands, Use Me, Ain't No Sunshine, and Lovely Day are embedded in the culture and have been covered countless times. While many of Withers' biggest songs were recorded in the 70s, they have proven to be timeless hits. Lean on Me emerged once again earlier this year as an anthem of hope and solidarity in the time of COVID-19. Sean Connery, the Scottish-born actor who rocketed to fame as James Bond and became one of the franchise's most popular and enduring international stars, died on October 31st. He was 90. Connery, long regarded as one of the best actors to have portrayed the iconic spy, was knighted by Queen Elizabeth II in the year 2000 and marked his 90th birthday in August. His death was confirmed by his family, who said that the actor died peacefully in his sleep, surrounded by his family in the Bahamas. It is believed that he had been unwell for some time. His last acting role had been in Stephen Norrington's The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen in 2000. In a statement, Bond producers Michael G. Wilson and Barbara Broccoli said Connery was and shall always be remembered as the original James Bond, whose indelible entrance into cinema and history began when he announced those unforgettable words, "The name's Bond, James Bond." Connery, who made his debut in the first Bond film in Dr. No, 1962, also transcended Ian Fleming's sexy Agent 007 and went on to distinguish himself with a long and mature career in films such as The Wind and the Lion, The Man Who Would Be King, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and The Hunt for Red October. His turn as a tough Irish cop in Depression-era Chicago in Brian De Palma's The Untouchables brought him a supporting actor Oscar in 1987. Even as he entered his decade, Connery's star power remained so strong that he was constantly in demand in 1999, and in 1999 he was selected as People magazine's Sexiest Man of the Century. Thomas Sean Connery was born of Irish ancestry in the slums of Edinburgh on August 25th in 1930. Poverty robbed him of an education, and by his teens he had left school and was working as an unskilled laborer. At the age of 17 he was drafted into the Royal Navy but was discharged 3 years later due to a serious case of ulcers. He returned to Edinburgh and worked a variety of jobs, including as a lifeguard. He took up bodybuilding and placed 3rd in the 1950 Mr. Universe competition. After moving to London, he learned of an opening in the course of South Pacific. He took a crash course in dancing and singing and surprisingly landed the role, in which he stayed in for 18 months. He was hooked, he said, but he spent several years paying his dues in small repertory companies around London before anyone else became hooked on him. Connery is survived by his second wife, painter Micheline, who he married in 1975, his son, actor Jason Connery, and a grandson from Jason's marriage to actress Mia Sara.
New Jersey native John Seward Johnson Jr., sculptor of hyper-realistic figures inhabiting cities around the world, creator of New Jersey's Grounds for Sculpture, and Johnson Atelier, and grandson of Robert Wood Johnson, founder of Johnson & Johnson, died on March 10th. Surrounded by his family at his winter home in Key West, Florida, he was 89. The cause was cancer. At the age of 38, Seward Johnson had been a painter when his wife, Celia Joyce Johnson, noticed that he had a mechanical aptitude and encouraged him to try sculpture. Less than a year later, Johnson won the top prize at the Design in Steel Awards. From the beginning, he focused on creating life-size bronze sculptures of people engaged in daily activities to honor the beauty of the rituals of everyday life. It was in 1980 that Johnson first achieved wide acclaim, followed by citywide exhibitions in Rome and Berlin, and a growing number of collectors. Double Check, Johnson's 1982 bronze sculpture of a businessman, was the only Ground Zero piece to remain intact after the attacks of September 11, 2001. As the New York Times reported, while Double Check evolved into a memorial to all who perished, it was also a fitting metaphor for the city. Though the sculpture had been knocked loose from its moorings, it endured. As Johnson became more prolific, he opened a studio in his native New Jersey that expanded to become the Johnson Atelier, a technical school and an open foundry for other sculptors that revolutionized control of the medium. Previously, the ancient secrets of casting had been well guarded. The Atelier gave artists freedom over their work, attracting some of the world's greatest sculptors. As Johnson's reputation as an artist flourished, he began plans for a sculpture park with a vision as detailed as his figures. Visitors would be encouraged to overcome a natural, habitual, or learned resistance to fear of art for an experience that elevates the soul and heals the spirit. Now 42-acre Grounds for Sculpture gained international acclaim since its opening in June 1992 and features the work of more than 150 artists. Seward Johnson, who resided in Hopewell, New Jersey, Nantucket, Massachusetts, New York City, and Key West, Florida, is survived by his wife, Cecilia Jones, his son, John, and his wife, Susan, his daughter, India, and her husband, Elliot, and 5 grandchildren. I'd also like to make a special note, which, by the way, Grounds for Sculpture, beautiful. I just wanted to say that. I also want to set a dedication out or dedicate tonight's show to a friend that I recently learned. She had passed away in April, but I learned about her death a couple of weeks ago when I got a Christmas card. Susan Rose, who was a great broadcaster in her own right, passed away this past April.
I did not know that.
No. I'm sorry to surprise you.
Well, we're going to finish on a happy note, and I hope it's happy.
It's happy if you're a designated driver. I'll say that
it is good news for designated drivers in the future, in 2021. So
That's
just
right.
tuck this away and look forward. If you are going to be a designated driver and stouts, this would be a good story for you.
Yes.
With a history that spans over 260 years, few breweries are as iconic as Guinness. Known the world over as the go-to dark Irish stout, the maker decided earlier this year to release a non-alcoholic beer and launched Guinness 0.0. Let that news settle in like a correctly poured pint from the tap. Messed up that line, but that's all right. Billed as offering the same beautifully smooth taste, perfectly balanced flavor, and unique dark color of Guinness without the alcohol. Just seems like what's the point? But anyway,
Guinness is not a very heavy beer. It's not really
true.
very alcohol driven.
No, I guess you're right. This new alcoholic stout was initially to be rolled out in retail shops in Great Britain and Ireland before receiving a more global expansion next year. Guinness has and always had an unwavering commitment to quality, and our entire brewing team is hugely proud of the care and the effort it has put into the 4-year development process for Guinness 0.0, Aisling Ryan, innovation brewer at Guinness's St. James Gate Brewery, said in an announcement. We have created a taste experience that we believe is truly unrivaled in the world of non-alcoholic beer, and we can't wait for people to finally be able to try it. Unfortunately, people will have to wait a little bit longer because Guinness ended up recalling the cans of its non-alcoholic stout due to contamination fears just 2 weeks after the launch. The brewer described the recall as precautionary, but said microbiological contamination might mean some products were unsafe. The recall only affected customers in Great Britain, as the product was not yet for sale in Ireland. No other Guinness drinks were recalled. The Food Standards Agency in the UK completed their assessment and published their results on the internet, and Guinness is so sorry what happened and has addressed the incident on their website. They are working hard to return Guinness 0.0 to shelves as soon as possible. They will only do that when they're completely satisfied that they have eliminated the root cause. So stay tuned, because they want to bring you the standards and qualities that they and their Guinness drinkers expect.
Well, that's very thoughtful of them.
It is. So, you don't want anybody to get sick drinking beer.
No.
Like, that's never happened before.
Well, this is alcohol-free beer, so really.
They called it near beer in my day.
They did call it near beer, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, so that basically wraps it up, and it's almost time to, well, we have 10 more minutes, actually.
We actually have 10 more minutes.
So
Well, I've got to hang the shark back
Go
up.
hang the shark up.
So why don't you thank our sponsor once again?
I will.
while do that?
Okay, once again, our sponsor. So get ready, get your bottles out, and your flutes, because it's time for some champagne.
This could be an issue. It's never coming back down.
Oh no! Oh, it really took. Oh no!
Well, that's a very bad thing. I'll figure it out in the morning.
Yeah. So, what are we gonna do for our shark drop, or not?
I can go drop it from the couch. This is a bad thing. Not
Yeah.
supposed to be able to do that either.
Yeah. No, it isn't. There's supposed to be a knot there that prevents it from doing that.
Yeah.
So your string is just a one-way string at the moment.
That's a very bad thing.
And so we have no mechanics of bringing down the shark.
No.
Well, I guess at this point we'll just bring the shark into frame here, and
let's bring the shark on into frame. Well, it did drop, but it dropped on its own.
And so, with that, it's the last 10 minutes of 2020, and we want to say it's been a calamity of a year, so it's kind of fitting that the shark was a calamity. And
yeah.
Congratulations and better luck in 2021. Stay safe, stay well. Remember, it's a small ask. Wear your mask.
That's right. See you next year or sometime in the future.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Take care.
Good night. Let's see if I can just...
No, stop over here.
Yes.